All right.
Okay, we are here. We're here. Oh my God, I did it. Technology, holy heck. So it is so funny. So hello, everybody. And yeah, you're just privy to this moment of me having a breakthrough in dealing with technology, because it's so funny. It's so not my forte. And then when something goes a glitch, I'm like, oh my God, it's ruined, and you know, and so yeah, really funny how no matter how much you do this work, sometimes it can take one just little thing, and you're like, ah, you know. Yeah, but I tell you, I'm like, I'm right back. I'm right back. I'm not gone for half a day snarling. So here we are. And I am so excited to have Carolyn here and get to interview her. So I want to welcome everybody who's here live and who's come and who's been waiting for this interview. And so if you are here watching Carolyn and I'm wearing these so I can actually read the technology. You know, you're here listening to the interview, then just type in the comments and let us know, you know, where you're coming in from. I love to know that oftentimes we've got the whole world here at different times. And so, and also to type in any questions you've got, because when I've got questions here for Carolyn, and any questions you've had, I've gathered. And so if you've got more questions, we'll go in and answer them afterwards for sure. So firstly, Carolyn, would you just like to introduce yourself, and then I'll say a little bit more about what we're going to talk about?
Sure. Well, I am a health and wellness coach. That is my primary business. I do that on a full-time basis. I am a mom of 2 boys. The eldest is 20 in his second year of university, and then my youngest is 16, and he plays competitive sports. So we have busy lifestyles going on. And I am recently, I can't quite say divorced, but close to being divorced and settled with fairly acrimonious family law matter. And in the last year in particular, I have really made some significant changes in my family life and in my emotional life and in my business life. And so that's what I'm here to talk about with all of you tonight.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about that. And it was from a conversation that you and I were having, Carolyn, and because you're in the mastermind program now, and you were sharing some of the results that you were producing in your business. And I thought, oh my gosh, we have to share this, because there are so many people who they're in the same place you were in not too long ago. People who are, you know, maybe they've just started out on a business and they, you know, they're working really hard and they're just not getting some results that they want, or, you know, they're just lacking all this confidence, or they feel like they're kind of like all over the place, not really clear, not focused. But really the results just are not showing up. And you know, so I just thought people really could benefit from what you have to share on that. So yeah, so how about if we start off from where things started, and maybe just go from there, because I mean, just looking at you, people can tell. I mean, you're gorgeous, and you know, your aura is just, you know, so clearly, you know, you are a woman who is accomplishing, you know, stuff that you really want to accomplish that's important to you.
Right. Thank you. Yeah, so I guess to go back, I was married for 27 years, and from all accounts, from all appearances, things looked like it was a wonderful life. And I was really good at playing, keeping keeping the facade going and making things look as though everything was perfect when it wasn't, and it was anything but. And so a year ago really was the sort of the catalyst to it all. I had really been required to get myself and the boys out of our family home with two boys that didn't want to leave. That was the first struggle. And then just trying to find where we were going, what we were going to do through COVID as well, and really not having any real family or even a lot of people around to help me. So it had challenges coupled one after the other. And then when we did finally move, and the challenges that all presented, there was a real breakdown with the relationship with my youngest son, and he became estranged from me. And that was the straw that broke the camel's back for me. And I was really broken. So when I reached out to you back a year ago, well, last July, I was a really broken woman. I felt quite defeated in my relationship with my ex-husband, in my family life. I had worked for 30 years in a government job that I found out one day that job was no longer available for me. And at the age of 50, trying to reinvent myself or trying to replace an income that I had secured after 30 years was not easy to do. And I spent really last year looking for jobs on top of trying to run my business, and being faced with no one was even calling me on any applications that I applied.
Oh my God. I just want to speak to something there, Carolyn, because so there you were. So you're going through this separation, this divorce. Your boys, who I know you love, they're estranging themselves from you. You get laid off. And at 50, right? So it's also, we're not 30 years old anymore, right? No. And so clearly there's a lot going on in your life, and that's affecting how you feel, for sure. And we don't always realize, though, you said it in the beginning, you were good at putting on a facade. Mm-hmm. So it's like all of this stuff is just getting covered up. And you're going through a hard time, but you don't realize really how bad it is. And you're just kind of, like I'm strong, or, I can do this, or, we just kind of keep pushing through. And so I just want to, I just wanted to point that out, because we connected, right? So that was, and you knew you were looking for something, but you didn't know what. And that's when I shared with you about the Woman Beat Your Drum program. And so, you could, and luckily we'd met as well, which was really nice in person.
Right.
But just hearing about it, that's when you knew.
Yes.
Knew something.
And it really was, and as we've learned, and in my work with you in this last year, there's a switch in my brain. And so when I have an understanding of the science behind it, that I need that little bit of a check mark to say, okay, I'm on the right track. And so I knew that with the neuro-linguistic programming, that what you were doing was fit within what I needed. I knew that was the path I was needing to take. And yes, I had coaching in the past, and I had bad experiences in coaching. So when you came along, it was, yes, I had met you and we had a connection, but there was more to it. I felt there was a sense of security, but also I could tell that you were quite professional. And that was different in other people that I had been working with, because there's a lot of coaches now available. And you have, and I've been I have been taken. So I knew enough. I had a little bit of an experience that I knew that that wasn't you. And I felt I knew enough from the science background to know that this was where I was needing to go. It was facilitating and calling out my name more so than others at that time.
Right. Okay. And so let's talk about business.
Okay.
And just before we do, so I just want to, so if you are just joining us live here, hello, I'm so glad that you made it. We almost didn't make it in with some technical glitches, but we're here. So please put in the comments, say hello, and let us know too where you are coming in from. So yeah, great, just great to know that. And any questions you've got, for us, just please put them in the comments, and we'll make sure we get to them afterwards. So Carolyn, coming back to business. So when you then registered in the Woman Beat Your Drum program, what were the business? So I know that there was personal stuff you wanted, but what were the business goals that you wanted to reach?
Well, I needed to replace a good income. That was, so I had been working at my health and wellness business as a side business, really as a hobby in the last few years of my corporate job. And so that's really what I had been wanting to do anyway. So perhaps divine timing or blessings that come upon us that gave me that push to then do this business on a full-time basis. That first year, though, I was so immersed in such yuck. I don't know how else to really say it, but just the emotional stuff and really getting us out of that house and doing, just all of that. And also having to fight with an adversary as well. That was really difficult. So I wasn't able to give the proper focus to my business at that time either. But when last July came and the loss of my relationship with my youngest son, I just knew I needed to make changes. Like I knew that what I was doing was no longer serving me. And I needed to make a living for myself. And I knew I had the potential with my business, and I now needed to know how to make that happen. And so it was really, I was prepared to put some things in place to make me excel and push my business through and start to look after me was really it. Look after me from an emotional aspect, but also start to look after me financially.
Yeah.
And to be able to provide for myself so I don't need anyone to do that for me.
And so that's actually really pretty big. So, you wanted to earn a decent living to support yourself from your business. And that had been like a side kick, right, for a while. So it was a hobby. And so there you were, with not really a lot of clients, not really a lot of clarity, because it had been a hobby. And when you play at these things, you don't really learn a whole lot. It's just,
it really is playing.
Yeah. Okay. So you wanted to then really start your business. You knew you needed to get clients, you needed to get cash flow, but okay. So tell me then, what were the things that, what were the things that started to shift, or what insights did you have that started to contribute to the business results that you got?
I think in general, I would say I became vulnerable. I showed up at those meetings and admitted and let the facade down. There was no pretense anymore.
Whoa, I got to ask about that one. Because I can also hear, because I know some of the women watching this, like they want to know, because they want to excel at businesses, or, they want to start businesses, and they're like, what? The first thing is be vulnerable? You're kidding.
Yeah.
So what were were there any thoughts or fears that you had in your mind about doing that before? Like, what did you break through that?
So my big thing is I always playing small just being not to, I've always been mindful of those around me, and to, I have dimmed my light to not draw attention away from others. And I realized in doing that, I was showing my boys in particular that I didn't matter. That was, I think, the biggest wake up call you gave me, was when you said, when I couldn't even show up to do my activation breath in the morning, and you said to me, you tell me you love your boys, but how can you love your boys if you don't even love yourself? Wake up and spend 2 minutes of time on yourself was like, whoa. So there were things like that were really, and whether that's that switch in my brain that is just that thing that says, okay, I've got to start showing up. And that was the big showing up for me.
Yeah. So let's just pause. I got chills on that as you're sharing that, Carolyn. And, just so that people listening can actually really get that, and get the link of, like if you can't even do like a particular meditation exercise for yourself, then how can you give? How can you? So, but if you can actually share, what was the connection in that for you?
What I thought I had been doing for 20 years of my children's lives, giving and giving and giving, and making myself second or third or fourth. I didn't realize what I was showing them in that, and that I didn't matter. And fortunately, I mattered enough that it hadn't completely eroded, but it was pretty well eroded, and enough to cause the estrangement with my youngest son.
Got it. So see, one of the things that we often don't think about is it's our children learn by watching us. It's not by really what we say. It's by what we do. And yeah, that's right. So they see you not taking care of yourself, they see you putting yourself, second, third, fourth, last, and that they learn that they don't matter as well.
Well, and interesting, it's that same son that said to me about 3 years ago, if someone spoke to me, Mom, the way you were just spoken to, I'd never speak to them again. And that too has never left me. And it actually was permission to me that I needed to get out. I need, and that, so as harsh as those times can be to face those and hear those words, we sometimes need those as a wake-up call.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah. So then there you were, you had this realization that you were treating yourself like you didn't matter. And that was also the source of your coming apart, your estrangement with your youngest son.
Yeah.
Okay, so then what happened next? How did this then translate into your business results?
I started so the daily practices, I would say, were the biggest thing. So showing up every morning and doing the work. And so doing this work was working on me. And I had some difficulty with that, in correlating that's really self-care, that whole aspect. And the self-care was a big thing for me, because I really hadn't done it in 20 years. I just, I started out being a mom thinking, I would have, I make sure I'd have the coffee dates with my friends, and I do all these things to make me all well and good. But over 20 years, those things can erode if you're not very conscious about making sure you're doing all those things for yourself. And I did let it go. I didn't continue to be mindful of that, of my own needs during that. So that was coming back and just starting to do the daily work. And by doing that, I was showing up in my business more daily, consistently, and doing those. So it's like, you're not here one day and back a couple, in a couple of days after that, which is what really a hobby is. right? You're coming in and out of it. Whereas if you're doing a business, you show up every day and you do your work. And so that was a big, I just started to show up every day for myself personally with the work with you. And then the trickle down effect was I start to feel better about myself. I start to have more courage. I start to want to use my voice. I want to share that with others. I speak more vulnerable, like from a level of vulnerability more so. I'm the first to say, been there, done that, because I really, I'm probably the first to say all those things I said I'd never do, I've done. Like that's me. But I've learned a lot from that, and it really was I just really started to show up for me, and those around me could see it. And what really started to happen was those above me in my organization started to notice it. And so in the company I'm in, it doesn't happen very often that you would be moved within the organization, but someone from above put my name forward to be moved within the organization, which elevates me quite significantly. And could obviously see my leadership skills starting to take hold. And just by them giving me that added encouragement or that little pat on the back, it's just continued to make me start to go. So the daily grind, really every day, working on yourself, working on doing the little habits have a snowball effect. And so now clients really do come to me quite effortlessly. I try and stay in a very a higher vibration. I do a lot of playtime. That may sound really quite hokey for some people, but the happier I am and the better I feel, the more business I attract. And my business is a health and wellness company. So I'm making myself healthy and in the process able to do that for others. And I think they see it. People are really seeing that I'm a testament to the walk I walk. And that it just is opening doors and opening myself to the people that need to hear me or I need to help. And so I can't say it's been easy. There's been a lot of times that have been, that faced up with, I think I've gone one step forward and 10 steps back, but with your sage, advice and wisdom is always there to help us realize that when we face up against these barriers, what we think we're falling backwards is really just another test of our comfort zone and us to continue to push through that. And so really just keep kicking at that can and the more dense it gets, the prettier we become. But it really does, it has, I think just me showing up for myself every day just tells me I'm worth it. Mm-hmm. Right? And you start your day telling yourself you're worth it. You start to tell everybody else you're worth it.
Yeah. And people want to hang out with somebody who believes they're worth it.
Right.
Because you feel better too.
Yeah. And I would say like my energy around people, I know that people like to be around me because I exist in that happier vibration. I don't know how energy really, there's a lot, we can really get stuck in the mud. And there's a lot of muck in the world right now. So I know if I go back there, it's going to take me down a rabbit hole that I've been there and I'm not going back. So for me, it's really just staying in a place of love and where I really am helping others. Yeah. But helping myself at the same time, like it really feels good for me and the business I'm in. that's the give and take is so lovely, because I'm helping others. And so it doesn't feel like work in any ounce of it.
Yeah.
It really is, you feel like you're serving, and serving for a higher good. So
that's fantastic.
mm.
I think that is just so amazing, because just that one simple thing, showing up for yourself, not showing up for someone else, not showing up for your business, like as a separate thing, showing up for yourself. So essentially, so let's just kind of, like pop that one a little bit. And so when you're not showing up for yourself, oh, and by the way, just people who are just popping in now, if you're coming in and joining us live, please say hello, put something in the comments, and let us know where you're coming in from. Any questions you've got, also, please let us know. So yeah, Carolyn and I can come in afterwards and respond to your questions. So, so I'm just, reflecting on that key thing when you start showing up for yourself. So when you don't show up for yourself, right? So you were doing things, like, well, actually, why don't you say, so when you weren't showing up for yourself, just maybe give some examples of what that looks like, not showing up for yourself, and then how that translates then into your business. So people can actually see some of the habits that they might have, so that they can start making some connections.
Right. So for me, the routine of doing my activation work, my breath work first thing in the morning before my feet hit the ground is necessary for me. And so what I'm also doing is saying I'm putting me first before anything to the start of the day. The days I don't do it, because there are days I can wake up and I just can't do it today. And as little amount of time it takes, those days, as silly as it sounds, because I still have them, I don't feel quite as grounded or aligned in my day. And so it really just helps to, just like I use some of my health and wellness products, it helps me get on my feet properly, stabilizes me for the day. And I didn't realize, and if you had asked me a year ago about that whole thing, I was, come on, how can that be? But it is, it really is. And
yeah, and what that looks like too is when we don't realize that showing up for ourselves is so important, then and I can recall, you sharing things like, you would do some of the assignments and then some of them you wouldn't do, and you'd get busy, right? Life is busy. And then, in regards to your business, you knew, well, you probably should be doing, taking some action, but you didn't feel like it, or, a girlfriend called for coffee and you would go out for coffee instead. And then you'd come back and then you'd feel bad because you knew you probably should be reaching out to some clients, but you weren't quite sure exactly, well, yeah, but what are you going to say? And, so it's like that, it translates, doesn't it? When
it really does. And a lot of that work was me finding my own courage and my own confidence. So within that, because I was so broken, and I had, I mean, not to lay blame on my ex, and I was a player in it. So, I was accountable for a lot of that dance, and it was a narcissist and an empath dancing. And so I could sit here and say, I'm the victim, but that's not going to do me any good. And so I knew I needed, I drew a lot of that in. I drew those energies into me. A lot of the things that were happening were things I was creating and allowing to happen. Mm-hmm. And so I needed to make those changes for me. And so that by doing it and really doing just those simple exercises in the morning would allow me to then get on with my day. That I then go into an exercise program for my customers that I offer. And then I go and have a nice walk with my dog. And then I'm energized to come back and start my work. And then, so it fits into place in a nice routine and just keeps things moving. And I know the days I don't do it, I flounder. I don't have the same discipline in my day.
Beautiful. Yeah. So it really is. So that's the key, is the, from what you're sharing, is that you show up for yourself. And when you start showing up for yourself, and, for you, it was doing those practices, then you started naturally feeling more confident. You started naturally trusting yourself. And that in of itself meant you were speaking out more, meant you were showing up and being more consistent in your business. And bang, bang, bang. And so now customers just are, oh my God, that's just so inspiring. And you mentioned something earlier, and then I didn't follow it through. So just before we finish up, I want to ask you this. You said one of the first things that you did is that you started to become vulnerable.
Yes.
And so being vulnerable, how did that help you in your business?
By admitting that I had these weaknesses, and I don't know, or I'm not wanting to use that word, but things that I needed to work on. It was acknowledging that I needed that help, and acknowledging that I had those issues was freeing, because I learned that so many others of us have similar issues. And what you taught me was that no matter how good intentioned our parents are, things happen to us in the formative years, and those things stick with us until we change those. And so that was really, it was freeing to know that my growing up wasn't so horrible, or wasn't like, I wasn't really no different than a lot of everyone else. And I think it really just allowed me to acknowledge those things, and then to help deal with them and release a lot of those things along the way. But I think it was really the sorry, my dog is asking for attention. It really, I think, was just me acknowledging that I have these flaws, I have these things that need to be fixed. And by doing that, I realized I wasn't alone either in that. So my vulnerability opened up others, and it allowed me to open up more, seeing that I was as vulnerable, had these vulnerabilities like everyone else.
Beautiful. Because that's also, that's how we attract our clients, is because they relate with our story, because they don't have to put on a mask or pretend to be somebody else. They can be real, and they want to be with someone else who's real. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So just to finish up, if somebody came to you now who is in a similar place to where you've been, and they say to you, they want to achieve what you've achieved, they're lacking in self-belief and confidence and all of that, what would you tell them now?
Believe would be my first thing. Believe in yourself. And if not you, then who? Big one. It's time. We all have a purpose. We all need it. We have a duty to find out that purpose and shine that light for ourselves and for others, because we're a beacon for someone else. And we're not doing anyone any good playing small. We're not serving ourselves, and we're not serving those around us. So it's time to show up and stand tall and proud.
Wow. That is so inspiring. Carolyn, thank you, thank you, thank you for your time. Thank you for your wisdom, and thank you for your courage to be vulnerable and expose your life and what you've been through. And I'm sure a lot of people can relate with that. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Thank you for giving me the platform to share that.
You're welcome. And thank you to those of you who are watching. If you're watching the replay or if you're here live, please write in where you are coming in from. And we're just finishing up now. So make sure you go back and watch from the beginning, because this has just been an amazing story. So thank you for your interest, your curiosity, and there's been some great wisdom and good tips shared here. So have a wonderful rest of the day, everyone. Carolyn, thank you. Stay tuned. All right. Mwah, mwah. Sending love to you all.